I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Getting in the chat. All right. Okay, you're going to hear me in the background. I'm getting my jasmine tea with a little bit of honey. I'm raring to go. Got great live for you guys. Podcast later. Those of you that are it's best raw honey. So good. Really raw honey. So get settled in. Come on in. Get your tea, coffee, water, favorite beverage, and stay a while. Second half of the program for our awakening conversation. We've got PaoloDoro will be back. Hello, Shahid. We'll be getting to you in a minute. All right, everyone get settled in. Getting my tea here. So I definitely want to share some of what's going on. Thank you all for subscribing here to Podbean and also on YouTube. I really appreciate it. We will be getting there doing some lives as well. So thank you for those that left some great comments and DM'd me about that. Yes, we will be also doing some stuff there. And also, those of you, I've been getting a lot of people emailing me, DMing me about my predictions and the visions that I saw and how it's all coming true or coming to pass. What's going on in the world, finance, protests, riots, government, everything, education. So what I suggest, if you are in Patreon, there are a couple of videos that I was able to save because the videos got taken down by YouTube as misinformation and something else. I don't remember what it was. But it was all correct information and it's all playing out. So anyway, if you are on Patreon, you can go to, I think it's predictions, visions, and look there. At some point, I am going to put some kind of version on Rumble because I can't put it on YouTube. I can't put it on social media because it'll get taken down. So it's already had, and I got strikes for it. So anyway, that's that. So I do want to dive in. I see Shahid on the line. Let's get to her. And then I'm going to give you some information about what's going on with this great pivot, the reset, how you can best use these energies, because that's what I'm all about. If you don't have someone's giving you information, but they don't have the life-enhancing way to use the energy cycle, not really great information then. And we've got a guide message. I will be doing readings if you want to do quick reading, or especially with the numerology, I want to touch on that as well. Hi, Shahid. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Great. I know it's been a while. So it's so good to hear your voice.
I know.
Where are you?
Yeah,
Where are you calling in from now? You still in Europe?
Yes, in Paris.
Okay,
Yes.
in Paris. Yay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But you know
one
what?
of my favorite cafes is coming there. Zinke Cafe. I do
Oh,
believe the guy is
Zinke.
you know
Wait a
Zinke.
minute.
Oh, it's
Yes,
great.
I've been there like a couple of weeks ago when I was in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. They're opening you were there because I was there a couple weeks
Yes.
ago in Los
Thousand
Angeles.
Oaks, the one in Thousand Oaks.
Oh, the Thousand Oaks. Okay. There's one in
Yeah.
also Malibu.
Uh-huh.
If you go to the one in Paris, freak
I'll send
Mark
you a
out.
photo.
Yes, I mean, well, no, talk to the manager that he runs everything, Mark. Tell him Michelle says hi.
Okay, I
From
will.
the tarot reader, because one time I was in there with a friend of mine, and I had my cards, and she and I were reading, and he's like, "Oh, you read the cards?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, read my cards." So we became best friends. Well, in the sense of, I just love him and what he does with that,
Uh, yeah.
restaurant. Yeah.
It's a cool place. Yes, yes.
Oh,
I
it's
really
great.
loved it. I really loved it.
Oh, I'm gonna tell, because I was there the other day and talking to someone else that works there. They also have a place, Marseille. I was there with a friend, and they had some great DJs
Oh.
mixing. Yeah, so I did a little dancing. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like a second. I just love the people there. But I'm going to tell them, like, that. Oh, I know somebody in France that loves your place too. Oh,
Sure. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great to
It
do
was
work.
really
I do a
cool.
lot of work there. I go there, especially when I have stuff that's very technical, or I got to do a lot of research. I go there because I get the work done, and I just get my tea, my coffee, get whatever I'm maybe going to eat a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should check the Malibu one next time I'm there, because the one in Thousand Oaks was really, really cool. And I
Oh,
see what you mean when you
yeah.
say that it's good to get some work done, because it's
Oh,
so like you're in calm, and you're comfortably seated. The place is beautiful, surrounding is
yeah.
beautiful. So yeah.
And if you go there a lot, they know, like, I'll go in and they go, "I got you." And I'm like, "Oh, I like the
Uh,
white mugs." "I know you want the tea." Or they'll already serve it. "I got you." And they're there to really take care of you. They love the people that work there for the most part, especially
yeah,
the
they
day.
connect, huh?
Yeah, they for the most part. And but there's one in Malibu is great, and then the one in Venice is also really great. So if you
Hey.
get to any of, yeah, the vibe, the people, and I love it because you're sitting there and there's like people talking about creating, and they're collaborating, and this deal, that deal.
Hmm.
It could be Bitcoin, it could be a startup, or then you hear, "Oh, we just did this deal with Netflix. Oh, we got the writer, or you want to join in this?" And then
Oh,
you hear
cool.
languages. You hear a little French over here, a little Italian, a Spanish, Portuguese. And it's like, I just marinated in all. I'm like, "Oh my God, give me those creative vibes." I love it. It's just so artistic. The people there are very, they're creating,
Uh-huh. Nice
entrepreneurial.
vibe.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
creating. They're very entrepreneurial. Yeah. So great to connect with you. I'm so happy that you were able to
Me
join us.
too. Me too. I'm really happy. Like I feel like kind of coming home.
Yes, I feel that. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to connect, like, one to one.
Yes, yes, we will. We will. So, anything you want to ask or share?
No, actually,
I do.
I mean, I don't know why I'm I don't I
You
think
just
I'm
can't.
accidentally online
Oh,
on the line. So yeah, but it
no
was cool
accident.
to
Well, we
say
got to,
hi.
yeah, well, we got to chit chat, which is great, and
Sure. Yeah.
connect.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Because I'm always saying, it's very funny because people, especially friends of mine that know me really well, they're like, "You and your cafes," or I'll go visit friends of mine, and then we'll go to a market or a cafe, and they're like, "Oh, Michelle, hi, how are you? Oh, hi, how are you? Oh, did you?" And then my friends will look and go, "I don't even know them. How do you know these people?" And I go, "Because I come here, I hang out, I do my work, and I talk. I don't, I love people." And it's the one thing though, and it's weird because I've been doing, I looked back and I thought, when did this start? Was this like in my talk, like when I was traveling around the world or living different places, or maybe it was in college. And then I'm like, no, when I
Mhm.
was 14 in middle school, ninth grade, my friends and I would go. Hamburger Hamlet. We'd go and get a coffee or a tea after school and chit chat, or if we were off, like on the summer. So I was always doing this cafe thing. It was so interesting that it's like when I look back, that was always such a part of my life, and writing poetry. We'd all go, we'd talk, but my friends, we'd bring our
Oh,
sketch pads or sketchbooks, or we'd bring our poetry book. We'd ride our bikes sometimes to the beach, and we'd go and we'd sketch, or we'd write our poetry and we'd show each other.
that's so sweet.
Oh, I know. I love, I'm like, I always think I should have been born during the time of the, I think it was the beatnik era. I love that whole, or like in the what year was it, 20s, in like France in
Yes,
Paris.
yeah,
Yes, I
Les
think
Années Folles.
I think I was there. I think that I had definitely a past life there, like the salon, even Patreon, I call it the metaphysics and spiritualism salon, and in the
Oh,
time of
yeah.
in Germany, the Illuminati, which people don't realize, the Illuminati, they were giving money, sponsoring artists, and the Patreon people would come and, oh, I like your work, and just be an artist, and
Mm.
I'll help you. And but what's interesting, we're already going to be going back to that. There's a whole movement towards that. Less people are going like to clubbing and stuff, more to coffee shop, more people are collaborating. There's all these workspaces, so you can see there's a
Nice.
pull back to kind of like-minded community, finding your not out of like isolation, but like mutual interest to help each other and inspire each other.
Yeah, one thing that I'm seeing a lot now is that people want more and more to do lots of things, to explore all their interests, things they like to do, things they enjoy to do, and people are being directed more and more towards doing that. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
very true.
that's the case exactly. And the way you can make these things work, I guess, it's through collaborations,
Yes,
precisely.
yes.
So yeah, I can see totally these things coming back, coming alive, and it's so um, it's nice because I think like with all the artificial intelligence arriving and the work environment changing, this is kind of a balancing state of all that
Yeah,
where
and it
people.
will. You know what? You bring up a really good point. I'm so glad that you said this, because I think people freak out. I've had people, even when like I'm buying groceries, I'm in the market, and we're chit chatting, like the checker, and they're like freaking out about AI. Yeah, it is going to take certain jobs for sure. But you just said it, the counterpoint. It's like
Mm,
not everything is going to go in one direction and get rid of everything. There are certain things, especially ideas, because I've even looked. I mean, I love technology. I love what it can do, and the apps. It's helped me in my creativity and in the work that I do. Um, but I've put things in, like, for whether Claude or Chat GPT. Um, I mean, some of the artwork was good, but some of the ideas, I would say it helped me structure what I'm doing. But honestly, what I've come up with, or with the channeling I do, is I've not seen Claude or Chat GPT be able to do better. Let me just say, because people have to remember, it's pulling from what is already there, what's already out there, and
mhm.
it does need to be programmed. So I think people are going to kind of see that it's going to be great, but it's going to have its limitations. It's going to take a while to learn, but we'll always be one step ahead. I don't know why people don't realize that, even especially the even programmers. They're like, oh, it'll take over, and it's like, no, it's always the consciousness that is raw and live, because Chat GPT is not live, because
Right.
it's right, and it's only calling.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's not calling from everyone in the whole planet, because not everyone's putting into it. It's a very finite group. So I'm like, guys, you got to relax, chill, because it can never go beyond the spontaneous. What happens even in a conversation like this? What's spontaneous? I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. There's some spontaneous energy, life force energy, spirit that comes in, and I just don't see if because when you program something as brilliant as it is, as much as I like it or even love it, it's still prefab. It's still artificial. That's what I call artificial intelligence. It's still not nature. It's still not
It's not human. It's not human. It's not a human being. It doesn't
Yeah.
have a soul. So
Yeah, the soul. So even beyond human being, it's not of nature, so
mm.
it can't in a way predict the unpredictable and bring all the elements together to create something truly magnificent. It can approximate that. It could be great, but those things in life where it's like, oh my God, or that was magnificent, or they wrote this or said this, the tone, the energy, the feeling, the vibration, it's not going to be able to, it can approximate, but it's not going to be able to get to your point, very good point, soul vibration and frequency. It's just not, because it's AI, it's artificial intelligence. It's just like lights. Lights are amazing. I mean, they've got some great lights, but there's no light that compares to the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of what is it in the Northwest and Canada, and Iceland and Norway? Those.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I want
No.
to see that. So I've never seen it live. I've only
Oh, me
seen picture,
neither.
but I mean, that's like unbelievable. I mean, that's like just,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. In
amazing.
French, it's the aurore
What?
boreal. I don't know
Oh
how to
yeah,
say. Yeah,
Oribolas or something like that. The light. Anybody know in the chat what is it? Oribola? I don't know.
aurore boreal. That's in French, but I
Oribola.
don't know how they say it in. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it is that. Yeah, that it reminds me of the chant. There's a chant that kind of sounds like that. Oreo. Anyway, I digress. Okay. Well, I am going to. You can welcome. You're welcome to stay on. Just mute yourself unless you have something
So
you want to
okay, so
share. Oh, you.
how do I move out of the line? Because
Oh, I don't know. I keep saying I'm going to learn this. I think
okay,
you. Let me just see, Shahid.
or
I
I'll
can
just
mute you.
try to mute
I
my.
think. Yeah, I think there's a little um mic by you
Okay,
that you
I'll
could
try.
do
Yeah,
it.
just a second. I'll try the mic. So
Yeah, do you see it? Oh yeah, you did it. Okay. Now I can't get out. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now, Shahid, you're going to have to tell me how to do it because I always get people asking hello in the chat. Okay, anybody else can call in. So I wanted to go over some stuff because all the civil unrest that is predicted. I predicted in 2011 to 2014 predictions and visions, and 2017 to 2018. Um, so yeah, I've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of emails, DMs. That, oh my God, Michelle, this happened, that happened. You said the National Guard that this would go through, be domestic terrorism. Yes, yes, yes. So I kind of wanted to look at, we are in a 51-6 this month now, and I'm going to weave it into worldly, into the individual, and how you can best use this energy. Now 51-6, and if you can sign up for this, there's a free tier where on Patreon, if you don't want to have more soul connection and soul support. If you do, there are other tiers, but the free tier, you do get the numerology, the monthly report, and the moon reports. Now, I don't just do just astrology. I'm really connecting in with the guides and the energetic patterning. So I'm really weaving that together, and what's best for the collective, that are consciously on a soul path journey, and perhaps you're a light worker, or you're working, you're living more consciously. And so that's really, I'm connecting in with the oversoul. So that is, you can join that tier for free if you want to do more. There's what is it, appreciation tier, community. Anyway, you can look at it. So I kind of thought, okay, let me look back at this lens. And I was saying that there could be a lot of conflict, inner conflict and outer conflict this month. That 51-6 brings in, it starts to usher in, and also with Uranus going into Gemini, the lovers, lovers spat, lovers quarrel. We saw what happened between Trump and Elon, and I'm looking at these people archetypally. I'm not looking if they're right or wrong or whatever. I'm looking at why they are the icon that they are right now, and the archetypal energy that they're using. That's what's useful for me, working with consciousness and not getting caught up in the extremes of the polarity plane. So it's all this kind of inner conflict, outer conflict. So you might be even having little arguments with people or rub the wrong way, or maybe you feel like getting closer to someone. Maybe you're feeling the unification part. Maybe you're in the harmonizing part. So we are going in our world into a period of a lot of conflict, and it's called esoterically harmony through conflict. It's the fourth ray. It has a lot to do with conflict, you know, working things out, understanding that, you know, like projection perception. That's another way to look at it. What's being mirrored back to me? Is it what I want? What am I putting out there in the world? And when I looked at it this morning, and I also connected in with the guides, I looked at my Robert Hand information. When I looked at it, I really, okay, please mute yourself until I get on. So when I looked at it, I really was getting that this is the whole idea that Jupiter and Saturn square Neptune in Aries, right? So I want to touch upon that a little bit. So what that's bringing in is a lot of, it's bringing in an expansion. So we have Uranus and Taurus right now. That's going to be sextiling that Jupiter in Cancer, right, at some point. So that's a lot of movement. That can bring a lot of restless energy. That also brings in social reform. And it's showing us old solutions no longer work. I'm going to predict things are going to get a lot more, you might even think conservative, conserving energy, conserving money. That doesn't mean people won't be living more prosperous or abundant, but people are going to be a lot pickier where you spend your time, energy, your money, your resources. Is this really worth it? Is this worth it for me? Is this of value? Is this life enhancing? Is this really, you know, a priority for me right now? So that's part of this whole, especially with Neptune and most importantly Saturn and Aries. It brings a new level of responsibility and accountability, whether that's in institutions or governmentally, but especially on the individual level. And right, individuals are what comprise or make up organizations and companies, right? So we're also going to know what's not sufficiently working. This Uranus Taurus sextile brings in Jupiter and Cancer, changes in the money sector, changes in the world, again, changes in what we value, changes in how we value ourselves, see ourselves as a resource, and what is a true resource for you. So what's going to start changing are like, okay, how many cars do you need? You might look around and go, I don't need 4 cars for 2 people or 1 person. The excess is going to be trimmed. Whether that's, some people are going, oh, because that's the tariffs. All of that, I don't even look at. Those are just vehicles of the change. That's not where the change is coming from. Change is coming from spirit. Change is coming from God consciousness, the mind of all of us on a very high level in the non-local mind realm. What is being said is, we're not doing this game anymore. This is boring. We've done this enough. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, it's just human nature and part of the earth game that brings conflict, that brings people resisting, that brings people fighting, that brings people, you know, falling victimhood, you know, that brings all kinds of plays, you know. We're in the spirit of play, the play of consciousness. So you're going to have to look around and go, well, what play do I want to be in? You know, I was talking to a client the other day, and we were talking about, I was suggesting, like, because they want to do some things, I was suggesting improv, and they're like, oh, like theater. And I said, no, it's not theater. And I said, I tried theater. And I said, theater wasn't, you know, I wasn't really good in theater. I loved improv. I excelled at improv. Maybe I'll go back doing improv. My God, it was so fun. I couldn't believe what would come out of me. And also the teacher and the people that I was doing the improv with at Groundlings and Second City, they're like, have you done this before? You're amazing. Now, I didn't come in that way. I came in kind of shy. But once I got the hang of it and kind of got out of my own way, this stuff came through me to say. I remember I did this whole stint where I changed my voice. I had these languages coming in. And I got people applauded for me, and I was like, "What the hell was that, Michelle? Where did that come from? That what the hell?" I was like, "I don't know, guys." But it was probably also because I had great people around me, and that's also key. You want to look at who is around you right now. What are they furthering? Are they furthering doubt and fear in you? This doesn't mean we don't have doubt, we don't have fear, we have to process it. You just don't want to park your little car, your earth bubble, your human suit in that. So and to that point, we're going to see, and we're already seeing it, all this victim consciousness, this victimhood that comes up, that people get kudos. I mean, there's so much manipulation through that. It's very, very empowering. That's why I'm not for the Me Too. I'm not for identity politics, identity people. It is so limiting when you think of yourself as a light being, a light worker, a star seed, part of the all that is, a part of God consciousness, that your place is the universe. And that is going to be a theme that comes up. Probably it's coming up little by little, but I would say the next 3 to 5 years and beyond, people aren't going to want to be pigeonholed. They're not going to want to be put in a box. That's also Pluto and Aquarius. It's like, no, don't over identify. That doesn't mean you can't have pride or be, I'm a this, I like this, or I'm a, national pride, ethno, whatever. But we've been living too long in these little boxes. And this is about busting out of that. Cancer is about comfort. This is about a time of getting beyond your comfort zone and being comfortable with what's uncomfortable. You can hear my paper in the background. I tuned in and took notes this morning. So changes in financial world, stock market, the money sector, where and how we use our money, our time, and money is energy, right? So, and our energy in motion, where do we put our energy in motion? Our passion, our purpose, our desires. That's going to come up more. What do you desire to do? The biggie, though, is social reform. This is bringing in a lot of reform, what we call on the 3D level, but it's touching into the 10th chakra or 10th dimension. So that is humanity. There's a change in how humanity relates through groups, organizations, and communities. So you are going to see a lot of the lesser evolved aspect of that, more of the wounded aspect of that, more the manipulatable, but you're also going to see it coming together. And I was on a great podcast the other day. We had Carrie Hummingbird. I think she was on a couple months ago. You can look at it in the replays for her awakening chat with me. But I think she was on a couple years ago as well. Maybe many years ago. I'm not sure, but it had been quite a while. But I was on her podcast, Soul Nectar, and I loved it. I could be so uncensored. And we didn't always agree. She thought Kamala was going to get in, and I told her, no, she goes, I can't believe every part of my body believed that she was going to get in. I go, that's why you didn't predict the right person coming in, because you were so for it had to be that, because that was going to be the savior. And she was we had a great time, but I could really be me, less censored, because, a lot of information coming through and a lot of it playing out. That could be hard to take when somebody is very focused maybe on an older narrative or a different narrative, let's say a different narrative. But she has a lot of gifts. She brought some awareness and understanding to the conversation that was very enlightening for me and inspiring and uplifting. And she brought her answers too. And it was great for what she's going to do with also bringing more people together. But anyway, I don't know. I think next couple of weeks, I'll try to post that on my socials and put a link maybe to her replay here. So if you want to listen to that, because I talked about the predictions, hopefully now she's on YouTube. I hope she doesn't get the censored. In fact, I'm going to make a note to tell her to make sure to keep a copy, because I say certain key words. She's, let me just say, Carrie, I'm just write myself a note and warn her that, a lot of the stuff I'm saying is controversial. It's true. It's true what I'm saying. And I and I even told her, because was very worried. I said, look, I have a lot of faith right now because my predictions have been coming true for over 30 years now, like on big things, whether it was 9/11, this pandemic, everything, so many things. I need help putting them down or in some video form if somebody wants to help me. But so because of that, I kind of feel okay. I have a little fear here and there, but I don't know. I'm going back to that. Let's see, what was the conversation on? Hi, Sue. It was yesterday we just did it. So she's going to, she has to edit it and put it up, but I'll get a link and I'll put a link on the Carrie Hummingbird. What do I want to say? Carrie Hummingbird replay, which I think was last month. I will put a link, and then I'll also search just social media. She's coming also from, we both have Cherokee in us, and she lives near where my family is from, and I used to visit all the time. So there was some wonderful connections, and I saw her doing these powwows and bringing people together. I saw this big talking stick with her, and she's starting to do that. So she has her own strong medicine to bring. And it was quite wonderful. I thought Rumble was better for non-censored. Yeah, I'm going to upload. In fact, I have them uploaded. I just have to, what do you call it? What do I have to do? Just put the titles and all that stuff. But I have a couple uploaded to Rumble. Yeah, I'll try that. We'll see if it gets taken down. And the funny thing is, the stuff that got taken down as medical advice or misinformation, I mean, it was so misconstrued. And I just know there's keywords, there's things that the steering committee, I'm going to put it, doesn't want out. And they're very tied in, fortunately or unfortunately, to all social media and especially YouTube. So, and those things were even things that I had some medical doctors on Awakenings, this podcast. And they were saying their medical, not advice, but just their medical experience or what they did or didn't do, protocol. And some of it wasn't even in regards to COVID. Some of it was in regards to COVID, the pandemic. I guess those were flag words. I had said at one point, somebody asked me something and I said, I did not get the vaccine because I don't get vaccines and, flu. And I said, but you need to do what's best for you and talk to your healthcare practitioner. That got flagged as misinformation and giving medical advice. And I said, no, I was saying what I do. And I said, you do what you want to do. Doesn't matter. They took it down. So, oh, interesting, Sue. Past life with Cherokee. So let me go here. Let's see. What are we talking about? Okay. So Jupiter in Cancer is going to be squaring Saturn, first Neptune in Aries and Saturn. So here's some themes that are going to come up. Spiritual ideas, especially with that Neptune Jupiter aspect of the square. What you're going to see is the illusion and delusion. I would say maybe 2 years, but for sure next 3 to 5 years, false messiah teacher. No, it's not Trump, because Trump, and that was another thing I forgot to say in that podcast, because you guys got to develop, everyone has to develop discernment, spiritual discernment. Okay, Trump is a disruptor. He's meant to be here. I predicted him getting in, and why. That's a whole other podcast. You can go through the replays. I'm starting to put what I talked about in the description box. But you get what you get, what you get. You know what he is about, what he does, what he doesn't do. He's so predictable. And he's a good tool for the steering committee. As I was saying in this podcast, there's really no two parties. There's just two different approaches or ways of handling something or manipulating. So we have some time. We got bought some time. So yeah, the delusion, Sue, coming in. If I don't know about you, but I'm not trusting of someone, and I'm just going to touch on this a little bit, that Kamala, who was first, whatever, East Indian, Pakistan, whatever, and she was running on that ticket. And then 5 years later, because they needed somebody that was African American, she now said she was that. And then Now you can do that. I don't care. It's just, am I going to, I'm going to look at you a little side-eyed. And then she comes out, all these PR things. I remember this one video of her coming out of some kind of record store with free records. And of course they were all jazz, and she put on a little more, Southern, or what people might call Black colloquialism accent or something like that. And I'm like, wow. But see, people believe that. This is the problem. People are not going by resonance. They're not going by common sense and frequency and resonance. Does this resonate? Does this resonate? What's the big change up? We didn't see this. Like, if she was that way over years and said, oh, I'm finding this about myself, I'm finding that. But to change like that, no, that's all prefab. That's all constructed. And I could go on by things that she said, by what was going on with Biden, obviously, in his dementia, his decline, what was really going on. And a lot of the people around her wanting to do a lot of the controls. That's what got me concerned. They wanted to do, the people in her camp wanting to do the controls that are happening in the UK, the censoring that's happening in the UK and Germany. And she was for this. One of the bills she was for was that people would no longer be able to be anonymous on the internet, and they would have to put in their name and put your license, your license in, so they would keep track. That was just to use the internet. That's not going to certain sites. That's using the internet. Now, I don't really have anything. I mean, if you look at what I have, it's so bizarre and boring, but maybe I'm looking at shoes. Maybe then I'm looking up some celebrity that I heard the name, and then I'm looking up astrology, and I'm looking up numerology, and I'm looking up ancient, I don't care. But no, I don't. But that's not the whole idea for the internet. So it's going to be more and more important that you take the time and have the self-responsibility and accountability to do more deep dives and not get your source from one person, not even me, not even your best friend. You've got to sufficiently, because what's going to be activated also is the solar plexus, this whole idea of recouping, reclaiming, and healing and reinforcing our inner knowing, our gut knowing. It's very, not like I talked to Carrie yesterday in the podcast. I said, what blocks people, and it's done it to me too. I've had my higher self one time tell me not to do something or be with someone. It's probably the last time I didn't listen. And I nearly lost my life in that situation. That story going in the book. But because I was emotionally caught up in something, of course, I had to do the relationship. So I know, and I see this with people, until you get into that neutral state and let the higher self come in, get out of the local mind into the and let it all come in. The feeling, the gut, the knowing, the inner knowing, the flash of insight. So one thing that's going to be really important is not to look at the externals of situations and people as they look like me, they're going to help me. They're in the same group or same religion, they're going to help me. Because that's part of the glamour realm of that Neptune energy. It's been used to blind us and to kind of manipulate us. So it's going to be very important to understand that, and to have the way, your process, your protocol, your fail-safe to get into that higher vibrational frequency. And it is the frequency of oneness. Because when you channel something, or you intuit something, or you're not in judgment. You're in judgment as far as something is good for you or life enhancing or go there or warning or danger, but you're not in story about what it means. And I did talk about that on the podcast as well. Because we could get into story, oh, this happened, or they got in because they're doing this, that we get into story. Story is going to be fleshed out. Is this life enhancing? Is this a vehicle for change? If it is, okay. Because we can have a lot of stories about why something is happening and not happening. And that could be fun to play around with and look at and predict and, to look at. But it's not what's really happening. It's a story about what's happening. So you're going to see much more of that, looking at ideals. So spiritual ideals, spiritualism, spirituality, our spirit coming in more, the upper chakra coming in more. But also, is our idea an illusion? People are going to want more reality. Can I make this a reality? Can this become a reality? And if so, how? Jupiter, this square, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, of course, Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, brings growth, expansion, foreign lands, foreigners, brings our future, optimism, travel. But it also brings in, don't settle for a bill of goods. Is this, are you being given pie in the sky? A lot of people are going to get caught up in pie in the sky stuff. We're going to be looking at people that don't look like us or seem like us, but are really like us. Maybe on the outside, they don't look like us, but we have some kind of shared value or need to help each other, support each other. That's going to happen individually and in the collective. This squares bring action. They bring a need to solve an issue, a problem. They bring a need for movement. They bring a need to create, to make something happen. When you have a square, especially like this with Jupiter tied into it, the energy can seem very big and overwhelming. This is why I've been harping on it for the last couple years, or maybe even longer, 3 years, 4 years, since 2020. Like, please, and especially the people I work with, start now, because what's going to happen is your soul call is going to get so strong, especially during this transit, that you're going to feel like, oh my God, I can't do it. I got to catch up. Oh my God, is it too late? And some of you are already feeling that. It's because we're in this pivot point that's happening now, and it kicks into high gear when Uranus goes in Gemini. I'm just giving some, it's not astrological, but that's one lens. That's one lens to look at it. That we have to do it now. This idea, the soul's coming through. I can feel it. I've been locked in. It's about getting out of this constriction. So this pivot point is, it's like, it's now or never. I got to do it. I got to try this. I got to make this happen. Maybe it's too late. There's going to be this urgency. And that's the urgency to finally to create, finally to do it. The belief in yourself coming in. I guess I can do it. Somebody else did it. I can do it too. Or I'm going to get people to help me. So you're going to find yourself in uncharted territory, uncharted waters. It's not mapped out. The map is within you. The map, there's a psychic map, a soul map, but it doesn't read the same as a 3D map. It doesn't read the same as the human map. It doesn't read the same as the condition response patterns. People aren't going to be able to go to school now and go, oh, well, this is the career to take because you're good in this, and this is what people are doing well and making money. So people are going to look around and go, how many doctors can we have? How many lawyers? How many psychic? But you can have it if you're uniquely tapping into something that's unique to you. So you're going to have to dig deep. What is really unique to me? Are you a psychic that likes to play guitar or violin and swing on an outdoor swing and give a reading? Then do that. Okay? It's going to be that far-fetched. Because you're not going to make it if you can't tap into the soul quality of you, the soul essence, which brings in your uniqueness. Because everybody's going to be a something. Everybody now is awakening and wanting to be a something. And the thing is, you can be inspired by social media or, YouTube or someone like me or anybody else, or on, Instagram. But that inspiration doesn't mean that that's your way. You've got to find your own way and commit to that. So that square brings the idea of self-responsibility, accountability, and also that's commitment to your vision. The false messiahs, they're not going to be so obvious. We've talked about this. What we saw with Marcus Aubrey, allegedly Reverend Michael, I'm going to throw that in, Tony Robbins, certain people that, now guys, I don't care what you do in your private life. It's like, don't do retreats and workshops about finding your sacred one-on-one, your soulmate, and you're a cheater, a serial cheater. That's all I'm saying. That's all people are saying. You don't hear me talking about things that I don't do or can't do or have trouble with unless I processed and moved through it. I'm not going to inspire you in a way that I haven't done it or been there or seen it to be true. I'm just not. So, or, I've always wondered, allegedly, I have to say, but I have it on good authority, I'm going to say T. Robbins have so much energy. And I wondered how he was a coke addict. I don't know what's happening now, but he went away and went to rehab, apparently, allegedly. That's what I heard from someone that worked with him. Okay, great. But then don't tell me you lost all this weight and you have this new gizmo and supplements and you've been on Ozempic. It's not wrong to be on Ozempic. It's not wrong to do certain things. Don't tell me that you developed a skincare line and this is why your face looks great when you had all this plastic surgery. That's going to come undone. It's not those things are wrong. It's not about having judgment of, oh, you should not dye your hair. You should be, no, that's, who cares? Just don't, I'm saying you don't, I'm saying this is what the universe is going to be saying. It's not that you have to be honest in every little thing and to expose yourself to every little thing that you do or don't do, but it's in the big picture of you, right? And so there is going to be, what do you want to call it, prophet, president, not just in the United States, there's a few of them around the world that are going to seem like a uniting force. And a lot of people that in the mainstream world that haven't been doing their inner work enough are going to be very, very disappointed. That's like the last kick of the rude awakening. That's going to awaken people to go, shit, oh my God, shucks. Whoa. We're having a little bit of it now. You're seeing it now with certain people. We're seeing their flaws. Everyone has a flaw. I have a flaw. More than one flaw. At some point, we're going to disappoint ourselves, other people, and other people are going to disappoint us. So that's why we have to connect into our own inner knowing, our inner truth, and not give our power wins. Okay, this is good in this situation, or I like what they're saying or what they're doing, but I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to make it my own. I'm going to, I'm going to do this suggestion, but I'm also doing that. Because a lot of the reason we're in the situation we're in right now is because we haven't all been accountable. So that's going in. So that's the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 2.5. It's that as that Saturn cycle ends. This new leader will also be very charismatic because we get fooled by shiny objects. So that's one thing that we're learning. Shiny objects versus what is real. Is it just a shiny object and you're looking and going, oh my God, that's a diamond in the street? And I just had that the other day, by the way, guys. But I went in my car. Now, mind you, I have found money on the street. One time $65, another time $40, another time $20, right within the same amount of time period. So I have found cash, big bundles on the cash. But I was at the market and I was coming to my car and there was $100 bill. And I went, oh my God, I picked it up. But it was money from it said motion picture money. So it was like, but it did look like a real $100 bill. And there was these girls sitting out and they were going, we saw the guy dump it, throw it out. Was it real? And I said, no, but it's still a good sign. I'm going to take it as a good sign. So anyway, looking at that in your own life. So what's the learning lesson with that? You got to trust, you got to do your inner work. You got to do your homework. Let's see. So what else? Okay. We're also going to be in an adjustment period. I'm going to kind of wrap this up because I see Paolo is on air. The adjustment period. Be around people that are in alignment, that are actually good for you, life enhancing, supportive. We're going in this realignment. So there's going to be a lot of restlessness, uncertainty, big changes. What you used to depend on, you won't be able to depend on, especially if it has to do with structure. So we have to get comfortable with the uncomfortability, being uncomfortable, because we're going to be stretched in new directions, new ways of living. Some of you, it's travel. Some of you, it's a move. Some of you, it's career change. Some of you, it's this new soul aspect of you coming in. So, there are certain people that you can look to, especially like athletes, learning something new. They're uncomfortable. They're scared, but they try it. That's what's going to be required of it. Oh, I don't want to look stupid. Oh God, I don't want to say this. You're going to be uncomfortable, but the uncomfortability is not going to go away. What's going to happen is being uncomfortable because you're growing, extending, expanding, or doing something new or trying something new, you're going to say, oh, that's just part of it. And you're going to get the support. Support is big. Relationships are big in this next level of the new paradigm. Get comfortable with transition, change, chaos. Use the chaos, use the free energy, the extra energy to create your own healthy disruptions and for creation. So here's what the guide said. You're going to have an idea of where you're going or what you want. What's going to happen is the exact route is going to be uncertain. You're not necessarily going to know the exact route. Now, in closing, till we get to Paolo in our awakening conversation, here's the message. So right now we have Uranus in Taurus. You can look at that. Uranus is going to be the freedom to exit. Okay, so look in, where do you have Saturn? Saturn is the doorway. This is a metaphysical focus, esoteric principle. Where your Saturn is, whether we're looking at Saturn in the collective, what house is it? That's the door. That's where you're going to be tested. But that's also what you need to integrate. That the test always has, what do I need to learn, integrate, assimilate? So where Saturn is right now for you, transiting Saturn, or you can even look, your natal Saturn will show you what your test has been. Pluto, where is Pluto transiting for you right now? That's going to be the transforming action, the place that this transformation is going to be expressed and lived out. Where Pluto is transiting right now in your chart is the area of your life that this transformation is going to be expressed and lived out. It's the domain. Uranus is the way to do it, the way to get free, the way to free up. Uranus is the tool for where Pluto is. It's the tool. It's what to use. It's the modality. But Saturn, you have to pass through Saturn before you get to Uranus. So you might be tested, right? You might be being tested in a certain area, or you might have to show what you know, or you might have to integrate what you've learned. And that's going to give you a good, if you can connect into that, a good aspect, a good foundation, a good rudder. Like for me, Aquarius in the 5th, okay, I'm going to, creativity, projects. I have many projects right now that I'm doing and I'm coming out with some oracle cards. There's certain things that I'm doing, my writing, so play. Okay, I'm learning to work more in collaboration, right? And so publishing, putting my word out there, speaking more is my exit point, is the way that I can ascend, is the way that I can share, the way that I can expand. So what's happening is all of us are being used as the tool within the collective for this collective awakening, ascension, and living more from the soul. You've heard it before. Each of us has a part to play. With that note, we have PaoloDoro with us, Ancient Bling creator, storyteller, and intuitive. Oh, Uranus in your 10th, Pluto in the 6th. Okay, it's changing it's changing what you're doing on the 6th house. The 6th house is your area of transformation. It's the 10th house, your destiny and being more public is your exit point, right? So look where Saturn is then. So Uranus, there's probably a change in how you live or your destiny or, a big part of your life, your career. But but the 6th house, the transformation is going to come in your day-to-day activity, what you do, maybe even health, Virgo rules that house. So you could also look at if you do have Virgo in your chart, where is that? Very, very cool. Oh, 8th for Saturn. Okay, Saturn is the test. These deep soul connections, right? Spirit soul connection, 8th house. So that's where you're good. That's your doorway, the soul, the occult. Of course that is for you, the occult. Could be channeling, yes, absolutely, with the 8th house there. Absolutely. Paolo, are you on there? Oh, it's eighth house too for natal. Okay, so that's a double reinforcement. Yeah. Paolo, you have to unmute yourself. Let's see, can I do it? You have to unmute. Unmute. Unmutee. I didn't know you were going to be here, Paolo. That's great to see you. Yeah, you got that feeling. Yeah, if you have if you have a natal aspect that's being hit, that house and that planet, that's like a double, you know, hello, let's do this. PaoloDoro, you have to unmute yourself. I can't do it. Let's see. You got to unmute or call back in and then, yeah. Yeah, anybody, any questions? Let's see. Sounds like getting in your flow. Yes. Her being Montel. Oh, yeah, Sylvia. Yeah, that one. Let's see. What else do we say? What were you talking about? Montel's eye candy. Let's see what else is going on. Latoya. I don't know if Paulo can hear me. You're muted, Paulo. I've been waiting for you to unmute. You got to unmute or call back in. Hang up and call back in. You should be able to unmute. I can't unmute you. Let's see. Let me see what we got here. Add admin, block, cancel. No. Paulo, unmute. You got to unmute yourself. I don't know if you. Let's see. Okay, I'll keep talking then. I'll keep talking. Anybody have any questions, comment? Anyone want to share what's going on with you? Okay. Oh, I didn't know that with Montel. I didn't know that, Sue. Yeah, I know everyone in those public fields is a front person, and I'm not expecting anyone to be perfect, but you do have to kind of. We're just basically with this square that Jupiter and Cancer, especially with the Neptune, the Neptune Saturn. We'll start feeling with that conjunction, but by the time Saturn, because we'll have Neptune in obviously for a lot longer, as Saturn is leaving, we're going to have to learn that lesson of the shiny objects and about going for you're just have to get your BS monitor better, because there are going to be a lot of these false prophets, these people rising. But one thing that you could know when there's a story, when there's a big story around it, when there's a story of, see, there's this overarching story, and even that story. But we have to have story. I love stories. I love storytelling. I love reading. I love movies and episodic shows, and it's all about the story. But what happens is we take the narrative too much to this is the end all be all. Instead of what's really going to help people is again getting into that detached observer, the witness, bumping up into the frequency and vibration of the higher self, so you're not stuck in the polarity, the extremes of the polarity of that is just going to blind you every time. You're not going to get an accurate read. There's just no way. There's just no way. Chinese, what is it? Yeah, Chinese fantasy movies, historical movies, anime. I mean, all of it's beautiful. We're creating a story, but when you have to bump it up, really, God, to the sacred geometry of it, the feeling, the vibration, the frequency, to where's the overall, where are we going? And what the problem is, and this is going to be a biggie, especially for the United States, it's going to happen all over the world in varying degrees, but I'm going to say especially for the United States and also Canada, by the way, that Jupiter in Cancer, that square is going to break. We're growing. The earth, the human aspect of us on the earth plane is growing, because one of the things we call the original separation that's kind of screwed everyone. And again, a lot of religions use this as a way to control and manipulate. This whole idea of the intermediary to get to God or get to source, right? And that you can't get your own message or guidance, and so what a big thing that's playing out on the earth plane is not belonging. It's a trap. I don't belong here. I was thrown here. Earth is a prison, and we did this. We didn't learn our lesson. No, that's all BS. That's all just lower level. That's not even a good story. You know, you incarnate here vibrationally. It's even beyond your concept of choosing to be here. It's even beyond, unless you're coming from another planet, but it's not because you did something wrong. You know, most of you are here to really help and create, you know, the new paradigm. So this story of being separate, and so as humans, we've always been, we want Santa Claus. You know, we want down the road maybe Mrs. Claus, but you know, whatever color you want. But we want, that's how we see our president, our leaders. They're going to give us everything we want. They're going to save it. They're going to help us. That's how we wanted our, you know, and that's how we wanted our spiritual leaders and teachers. And that sets up a trap. So we've been, you know, that's, I always say, yeah, that's why people liked Biden, because it looked like, you know, grandpa, I don't trust him. He's older. He knows better. He's grandpa and you know, we want this. So the one you got to watch for that's going to be very young and spry and charismatic. It's not, we got to learn to not go for the packaging. You know, I bought some windshield wipers the other day. Fernando, shout out to great place. The Via Marina Auto Care. I've been going there forever. And he's like, very helpful. I just had a bunch of, like, you know, when you get your car serviced and all that. And then he says, okay, you could buy the one, because I had to get it from the dealer. And I'm like, fine. And he goes, okay, there's
I
one
think
from
I'm
the
unmuted
dealer.
now.
Oh, great, Paolo. Finally. Okay, good. Anyway, let me just finish this up. So anyway, there's one from the dealer, he said, that comes in the box. And there's one from the dealer that doesn't come from the box. I don't know, it was like a $30 difference. I was like, well, I don't need the box. Because that's what I thought, Michelle. I just wanted to let you know. So guys, you got to look. The box, we don't have to go for the boxed one, the gift wrapped. You're going to have to look beyond the wrapping, because everybody wants the box. They're going for the shiny. And by the way, I did it too in the beginning, because I'm like, oh, he did this. I did this deep dive on him in the 90s, early 2000s. I'm like, he's uncouth. He's not a leader. He's not statesman-like. But guess what? I'd rather have somebody burping and farting and I can see him coming than in a tuxedo suit doing weird stuff behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Guys, we got to get out of the shiny object phase. Hello, Paolo, right? I'm
Well,
on a roll, Paolo.
I'm a magpie, so I don't want to consider. I like the shiny things, but yes, you're right. I don't follow the shiny things, but I like them. I do like them.
Well,
It makes it colorful.
Yes. Okay. I love my diamonds. I love my gold. I love my jewelry. But I'm talking about shiny things. The problem is without substance. Thank you for, let me clarify that. Without substance. The problem is people go for the shiny thing, but they don't go like, oh, well, actually, what's behind it, or what's it made at? What's behind the curtain? You know, it's like, remember that show that was what's behind door number 1 or door number 2? I remember as a kid.
Yes.
And
Price is right. Price is right.
Something, I don't know, but I remember sometimes there was a donkey back there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, which is cute, I do like donkeys. But then the person's like, I knew I should have gone from the other door, because they got fooled. You know, they didn't listen to their intuition, and they thought, oh, this one's going to be a lot. Like maybe the donkey was $10,000 to buy the donkey, and the refrigerator.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, okay.
but sometimes, you know, picking what you think is the right one is not what is right for you, and sometimes that picking number 2, and it comes out of your mouth. Sometimes we don't even know why. You know, since I've been alive, things came out of my mouth, which some of it I didn't choose, and yet
I know that. Oh,
you know,
yeah.
yes. So I believe we get, you know, there's an old saying, and I can't remember where it's from. Some say it's Iranian, some say it's a very old saying about you get what you're supposed to get. This is how I feel about everything. And so if you're supposed to get that donkey, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, it's going to be behind the one you choose.
Yeah, but I'm also, yes. So what we experience is meant to be in exactly what's going on the planet right now. That's a lot of what I said yesterday in the podcast. It's meant to be, it's destiny.
Yes.
And that's why I feel so much more relaxed and have faith, because it's destiny.
Yes.
However, let me do a clarifier.
Sure.
People have to find a way to rehabilitate their inner knowing, their gut knowing. That's been so out the window since early ages. We've been taught not to We've been
Yeah,
taught to trust
we
how
haven't
something
said that,
looks,
right? Yeah,
but
we
not
haven't said
how it
the
feels.
intuition.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but they're saying that the culprits are, your position of your body first of all is a contributing factor. And what they're saying now is we're no longer looking straight ahead at each other. We're looking down at a phone. We're looking,
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
we're
it's a
not
good point.
looking and getting direct energy anymore from each other. So that is also stopping, or no, I wouldn't say stopping, but halting the idea of going into our intuition. And they say these future generations are not going to be able to have an imagination. That is the frightening part of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's not to
Well, that
imagine because everything is done for them.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, you say that's interesting because I remember in the 90s, and it was an earlier book. I think it was called The TV Generation, but it was basically about screens. And it was fascinating that, and then later I did a deep dive on it I remember years later, but that there's a synapse. In other words, and this makes so much sense because whatever we use gets stronger, what we don't use atrophies, and then ultimately, in the collective is gone or expired or extinct.
Right.
So what was being shown is that, well, two things. One, that there's a plan in this, because what that does is it makes people be able to program or be great to fix something, service something, to program, but it makes them not able to generate new ideas, which is interesting also because if you look at the tech world, there really hasn't been any new, I know on YouTube a lot of times they make fun of like, Gen X and baby boomers, especially baby boomers. It's like, but those are the people that created all the technology we're using now. Even AI is old technology redone. So it's been by design to make these whole generations just more like bean counters, more just programmers,
Right.
more just
Right.
servicing things.
Right.
So this book detailed how what what I found fascinating, by not reading and watching it was about video games, also about using video games a lot and not reading. What starts to happen, there's a synapses in the brain. So when you're reading something or writing something, you're actually getting visual images of it. You're creating those visual images.
You are manifesting. Yes, you are
Yes.
manifesting. And
Yes.
that's the part people, and what,
It's atrophied now, Paolo.
it
It's so good you bring that up.
not only
What's not there
atrophy,
anymore?
it's
It's
not
not
there
there.
anymore.
No,
It's
it's
not
not
there
there. No,
anymore.
no, no. That's what this book was saying. They did a whole study. And so all these later generations don't have that ability, which is
No.
imagination. They're not creative.
Right.
And
Right.
what's bizarre is you can see it. I mean, no shame, not everyone. We're not saying every one of that, but
Yeah.
a good chunk, because that was, yeah, it atrophied. That synapse rather,
Yes.
atrophied. And they
Yes.
were already seeing it. And so, yeah, what's
Well,
interesting too, because
it was
you
right there.
connect
It
to
was.
your soul through creativity,
Oh, I know.
right?
It's a major traffic way to create it to your soul. It
Yeah.
is the purpose of your soul, basically. I think I have I have been able to see it when I was living in Hawaii. I was living in Maui, and I walked down to the beach as I usually do, and I saw this family. It was a mother, father, and their one child was sitting. And they're all sitting on a bench or a lower palm tree, looking at the ocean. The mother and the father were looking at the ocean. This most beautiful view, this most incredible place to come to see this view. And the kid is looking at his phone.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
and here he is. He's not seeing this incredible view. Well, without the richness, without the give and take of our universe here, without the acceptance of each other, without the connection of each other, of course it's going to atrophy. Of course it's going to dry up. It's not going to be given energy. There's that saying that the old, I believe it's a Navajo saying that, the little grandchild says to his grandfather, there's a major white wolf and a major black wolf. And he asks the grandfather, which one's going to win? And he said, the one that's being fed.
Mm.
And that's the truth with it. And there's another thing I like to point out. It's coming my political. Here's my political. Put your right foot in, put your left foot out. That one.
Okay.
so so I want to kind of put this out there for the universe and for other people. I believe a very contributing part of Trump's energy to come into this was because it was hate. He was so attacked, but that was energy that was feeding him. We were feeding our the enemy, and what we fed, if you want to call it an enemy, but we were
I don't
feeding his
understand what you
energy.
mean. Who's
Yes,
the?
you're feeding Trump by just hating. When you hate someone or when you love someone, you're feeding them energy. And it is up to your aspects and your relationship to this universe, whether it's interpreted as this is good for you, soul, or not. So
Yeah.
it's not about that. So
Well, I
I
think the thing is
understand
to
all.
not. Yeah, I think yeah, I see what you're saying. You're giving energy. It's like I remember, like
Yeah,
with gurus, when you're following someone, you're giving all that energy
yes,
psychically and in this. But that's the whole thing. That's why he's meant for this time. By what he's
I
doing,
know, I
it's
know,
powerful, isn't it? I mean,
it
I
is.
love it. It's like, especially when I'm wrong, because I too, I had my thoughts in the beginning, and then like 2015, 24, whatever it was.
Hmm.
And every time I'd sit with the guides and oversouls, and I got a different thing. It's like when I do the I Ching and I think I know what, and I go, oh God, I get something like,
Yes.
important intervention. Your ego's getting in the way. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like,
exactly.
yeah, that's like, I just can't wait till this. I know it's going to be a while, 2040 to 2050, but I really look forward to that time where we're not living out of this, I don't know, heavy level of judgment of
Well, but
without knowing.
yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
mind
going to be,
judgment.
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's part of the circle. I was going to say what this Navajo elder, talk about wise people. Go to the elders. Go to them. They've been
Some
there.
of
They've
them,
done
some
that.
of them,
Well,
not
some
all
of
of
them,
them
yes,
are
not
wise.
all of them.
Not all of
No,
them. No.
but the one told me. He said, "You know what? You're traveling on a circle." And if you think you're going from the age of a baby to the age of death, it's a line. It isn't. It's a circle.
No, of course, it's a
And,
spiral even. Yeah.
right. Spiral
What I'm just
circle.
saying for me personally, because
Yes.
I could look at it in my chart, it's like, and you know me for years. I have friends in all different areas, types, sectors. So I've never really, I love this whole idea of this Aquarian age and Pluto and Aquarius with people that you don't think should go together going together. That excites me. That makes me happy, because to me the other is so limiting. So there are a lot of us right now on the planet, especially those of us that are star seeds, where it's like we're welcoming this divergent weirdness, melting pot. I mean, we're just, it's fun, and it's like, someone had
It's
said that
refreshing.
it's
I'll grant you that.
refreshing.
It's
Yeah,
refreshing.
it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it's
The,
like,
this atmosphere. I like. Okay, we do go back a while, maybe many, many, many whiles, but more than we know. But
yeah,
but in the early days, I'll call them. You used to astral project, and I remember astral projecting like that, like you're turning on a appliance at your house. You could turn in. For me, this is my experience. I would just turn into the astral, and I'd be there. And now I go there and it's a big traffic jam like in
oh,
LA.
I know.
Everybody's
Yeah,
gone there. So what it's causing is we have blocked certain energies, and these energies have been deflated by neglect. And either way of that sign, just like love and hate. It's an over balance. It's not a balance. Loving is not a balance, and hating is not a balance.
yeah.
And so you block certain energies and they get omitted. And I believe that
Oh, yeah.
omission is for us to get more direct to different dimensions. And then since it's come this way, since it's now 2025, we're all in so many dimensions. We have to kind of realize That's just allow it. Don't try to get in it. Don't try to interpret it as much. Just allow it, first of all. Be with it, first of all. And that's going to be with you. Each individual, as you're saying, they need to deep dive or be with that
Yeah.
energy. Just feel
And
it.
see what it brings up for them.
Yeah.
And good point. To your point, when you were saying that, I was thinking, well, part of it is, and just because it's funny, someone asked me the other day, I don't know why I didn't bring this up to you or tell you about this. And I'm like, I go, as I've, with my counseling and therapy and my own inner work and just being around people, I go, I learn, it's weird. We don't. There's certain things, sometimes I'll even think something and I don't say it. I'll think it and we don't bring up everything. It's not everything is part of the game. And so I feel in that level, there needs to be less, and I'm talking about punitive judgment, not what judgment mixed with, not discernment, but this idea that we weren't as evolved or this or that. The game is changing. So to your point,
totally.
certain
Totally.
things weren't experienced in the mainstream world
Right.
and weren't even allowed to manifest because there wasn't enough of the resonance, coherence, and vibrational frequency. That's one thing I really want people to get and hit home. There's only so much we can do, manifest, create, if there's not enough on the astral to the etheric.
Exactly.
It's
to
right.
keep the flame going. To keep it
Not
going.
only that, people look like, why didn't this happen? Because, and we're all a part of it. We're all interconnected. So if there isn't enough of the resonance, coherence, the vibrational frequency, things can't manifest no matter how amazing they are. Like certain individuals are getting together and like, well, why isn't this happening now?
Right.
Or why is it happening now? And I'm like, yeah, because now you look in the mainstream world and there's an energy included, like to your point, it's no longer missing. Now it's there in the etheric to the earth plane, the earth energy. So now we can go in that direction. So whether people like it or not, we are affected by the mainstream, by the collective. We affect that collective, but we're also we're interconnected, so we get affected.
That's right.
I guess it's almost like if I have like teeny tiny speakers and I have great music on my phone and I'm like trying to have you hear it and you're going, I can't hear it, I can't hear it. Well, I got to get bigger speakers. I mean, I got to work with what I have. We've all been working, right? Follow? Is that
right?
Right. That's what I was getting by what you were saying.
It's true, and what it is it's not. I don't even believe it's us getting bigger speakers. I believe that we're just. I think we got to just get rid of the speakers and let that sound. I believe.
That's just an example. That's
I understand. No, I understand. But I'm thinking. We have to go back to understanding, and when you understand something, you get under it. You get under it and you stand. And when you get under something and you stand, you get what it is. You get what the energy is telling you. And that's what people aren't doing. They're looking at it, they're touching it, they're tapping the tabletop, they're looking at the form of it, they're looking, oh, the shine is nice, all about it, but they're not getting under it and standing up.
Yeah.
And that's what we
got to get into that energy field.
You got to get it. Remember walk a mile in the shoes? Yeah, well, try just getting under a very little short brief thing is when I lost my child with one of my wives. And was very shocking, was so shocking I couldn't even believe this was happening. And I went to Florida with her. And I went to a tailor shop. A seer, a visionary, said, "You go see him. He'll have some answers for you." So I go, and I go to see him. He's 80 years old or something, very frail tailor, And I thought, I almost felt like I was invading, by even asking him anything. But I said, "Well, I was told to come to see you." And he said, yeah, I'm supposed to see you today. And he knew, and he said, well, and all this stuff started happening. People came out and the show began, and I had no idea. I was the main event. I had no idea. And he's all in Spanish, in broken Spanish, in elderly Spanish, was, "I want you to get on my shoulders." I said, "What?" I was like in my prime. I was 210. I was, this is a frail 80-year-old man. "I want you to get on my shoulder." So these women are helping me on his shoulders. And Yeah, and I started seeing like a little a cyclone around me. It was the spirit of my child that had passed, and the spirit came up to me and it said, "You were not supposed to be connected in life through me. That's why I did not manifest." Okay, wow. It's like going for ice cream and you find out your fabulous cake is there, but you have no idea that the dimensions that are. So, my grandmother said, don't be affected by what you see. Get affected and listen to what you're not seeing. Listen to what's not there, and this is where I believe everybody has to come from in certain ways. Don't look at it something as new. Look at it as, where did you begin with that? Because I believe we knew always everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the experience with each other, with a rock on the beach. Certain ones attract us because we knew them. We knew that color. We knew that combination. We knew it. And find out, where do we come into contact with each other? And that, I believe that's going to start turning around, either aspectly through the planets, and is doing, but it's also us that we are going to have to do it to receive, to understand, and stand up in the stars and know that we are from the stars. We are not from just one place. We are from
No.
every place. And let's begin to understand our connection with this universe. The universe is so vast. So if you want a good rabbit hole, and you want a life profession, find out where you are in the universe. That's exactly what we do here. That's
Mm.
exactly what we do here. Where did I come in? What am I supposed to do? All of those questions are in us. We know them. Know thyself. All these quotes, that in the past are very true because we're connected to this universe. All we need to do is find that connection. And that's in everything. I believe that's in everything. I came here to Big Island here, and I'm going, what am I doing now? And and it's taken me a while to go, and I started to see these connections, and now I can see why I was brought back here. I remember the connection to this. Once I made that connection, it all changed. The whole program changed. Not what I'm doing, not on the physical level, but on a certain deep level of my being where I can exhale, letting it go and be in a flow with it. It all got to that level because that's where I live. I don't live in this running around like the road runner. I'm not a road runner. I'm a person that sits and watches. I'm more the spider with the web. Where you come into my web, then we'll deal with you, kind of a thing. That's my energy. That's my astrological energy. But this universe has put me in this place of being the volcano. And I said, no, I'm going to a place where there is volcano. And now Kilauea is going thousands of feet into the air. The other day, 2 spurts of it became a fire heart. It was the most beautiful thing. Ah, it was incredible. People were seeing the spurting of energy, but I was seeing this fire heart.
Mm.
You see, it's
That's
all
so
about that.
interesting too, because I was looking at the aspects and it's connecting a lot to that heart center, and as Jupiter going to, it's kind of this idea of nurturing and comfort, the heart energy, empath,
Yes,
nurturing, taking care of ourselves and others and our world, our land.
yes.
Um, it's very, very, very powerful
And
to
that's where
connect
I
into
want to,
that.
that's where I live. I mean, I'm such a repetitive. I'm almost like the turret, the one that speaks, things that come out of your mouth, what they call that, Tourette's. I'm
Mm.
the heart Tourette person, vocalizer, speaker. I'm always telling people about Mother, Amaji Amartanandamayi. I spent years with her, 20-some years with her. Huh? I can't believe how long. And she would always say, put your head below your heart, because your head has no answers and your heart has no questions.
Oh, that's so true. And it
Isn't it?
goes back to that type of, I love that too. Someone put that in the chat. Yeah, me too. It goes back, Bailey. Um, it goes back to that whole thing though, that connection, it's beyond emotions. It's the sensing, feeling aspect of us. It can manifest through emotions. That saying that you're saying, it's like you just know when you're around someone or something. If it's like getting to this level of safety, I feel, with inside, where you just know, wow, this is where I'm meant to be, or this is the person, or this is the conversation. You just feel that heart connecting.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And it
yeah.
isn't, you're right, it isn't in the mind. It isn't, you're
No,
not thinking it. And I think that's why it's funny. I keep thinking about yesterday, because this podcast, I can't wait to kind of listen to it. But I kept saying, no, that story, and it's like, it's like, if we're going to create new stories, but we also have to recognize it's a story. We love stories, allegories,
yeah,
metaphors,
yeah.
but we also have to realize that it's a story, and who's telling the story, and what, you know what I mean, and what's the
What
story
filter is
bring,
coming
right?
through? Right, right.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's very
We
true.
have a chance. We have a chance, especially when Uranus goes into Gemini. This amazing energy, and it's trining that Pluto and Aquarius. We're going to have to create. We're going to need to edit, adjust. It's an adjustment. That's why I put
That's
this title, "The Great Pivot," this
yeah,
reset. Right, our perception of what happens, or how long something takes, or what's going on,
right.
because that's story, and we agreed to the story, we believe in the story played out, but it might be a different story now. I don't know.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is
Right.
very true. Story is one of the oldest ways of connection. So yes, we've never let that go. Even when we're not direct about our story, we're sometimes in story,
Yeah.
and people think it's real. And
Yeah.
that's up to them.
Wow.
That's up to
Yeah.
them to receive it. A lot of things. There's that wonderful movie about that, The Big Fish.
I
Did you
think I
ever see
saw that. I
that?
think you told
Ewan
me about it, and I
McGregor?
saw.
Incredible.
Oh, I
That's the
did see it. I
message.
saw it a long time ago,
Yes,
but that
where
was
he said
really
about his
good.
father, what he said about his father.
Yes.
He said, "Why
Yeah.
don't you tell me the truth?" He says, "I've been telling you the truth all my life. How you
Yeah.
receive it is up to
Yeah.
you. It's not up to me."
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at, because I tell them what come. I don't have no idea what I'm telling them, basically. And when they come back at me, like I've had many people, "Oh, I want to write a story about your life," and about the second day they go, "I don't know how to write." Just I said, because my story my life isn't just about day after day after day. My life isn't rudiment. It's not an element. It's not a equation. That's not my life. And
Yeah.
it never will be. I never will identify with that. And I hope everybody else who's listening doesn't identify with that. It's always, you're more than what you think your career is. You're more than what you think
Yep.
you are. And I think it was what was the guy? Some guy said, if you're a really truly, he was talking to someone else, and it was on television long ago, and it really struck me, and it's still in my vocabulary. It said, if I really saw the light in you, I wouldn't be able to look at you. You would blind me. That's how powerful we are.
Mm.
And
Whoops.
that's my wife.
Am I going out of that? What
That's
now?
my wife calling.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So anyway, so that's the truth. That's the truth. Hold on.
Okay.
Continue. I have
Okay.
to.
Make sure
I'm
you
thinking
mute
too.
yourself, though, so we're not
Okay.
hearing sounds over there.
I
Mute
don't know.
yourself.
I'm just gonna leave the phone here. I'll leave it here.
Okay. Well, mute it, or should I try to
Okay.
mute
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. You continue. I'll be right
Should
back.
I might mute it. Okay.
If it hinders you, I just got to see what she's calling about because I'm taking care of her.
Okay. Do you know how to unmute? Because I'm going to
No.
mute you, or put it under because I don't want to hear distraction in the background.
No, you won't hear. You won't hear it. It's another part
Okay.
of the world.
Okay. Oh, you'd love that movie. You saw it. Yeah, it was good. I might
Yeah.
watch it again. It's interesting how movies sometimes show us. Okay, solar flare. No, that's the other thing. That's an aspect. So if we think of the law of correspondence, as above, so below, even the planets, it's not so much that the planets. That's why I talk about numerology or astrology as more of a language. Even when I do my channeling and get predictions or have my visions, it's coming through the language of me talking about it, right? Or whatever I'm seeing, whatever I'm experiencing, or whatever I'm told, it's still a language. And that's why I sometimes bring numerology in to give it another tonality of the language, another aspect, or astrology. So it's not so much that the solar flares are doing something to us. That's one way, or CMEs, that's one way that it's manifesting. It's a symptom. That's why whatever's happening to us is way beyond physical form or the universe or universes. That's what I'm saying. When you really get in the sacred geometry of it, the resonance of it, the frequency, the vibration, when you really get beyond the concept of our stories and our archetypes and those are all ways that we understand what's going on. It's giving us context, whether it's a volcano or it's an earthquake or a solar flare, or it's at, what is that called with those lights that I want to see, that Shahid said, Ouroboros, the lights across,
The
whatever
northern lights.
yes, thank you, Palito. Yeah, the northern lights. So all of that's phenom. We call it phenomenon. So it's the symptom, it's the effect, it's another way of interpreting, it's another language. There's another level beyond that, which is undiluted, which is undifferentiated consciousness, complete consciousness, awareness, the all that is. And we get there sometimes, in meditation or some kind of state, out of whatever expanded, but then we got to how do we interpret it? What's the analogy? What's the symbol? It doesn't mean those things aren't happening or are infecting, but it's an aspect of what's happening. It's not necessarily making anything happen. It's an aspect of what's happening. So anyway, yeah, just love his. Sue is saying, just love his laugh. Me too.
Well, I borrowed my laugh from an old guy I saw once on the street. I just love your laugh, and I stole it. I didn't realize I never used to laugh like this. But I was very young. I was walking by him with my mother. My mother would play a game with me. This is interesting. I don't know if everybody played this game with their mother, but my mother would play a game with me, and she would put a bandana around my eyes, and she'd say, "Okay, now you're blind." I said, "Okay." And she'd take my hand and she'd walk me in the city. Okay, can you feel the curb? Can you feel it's people walking now? She allowed me to be. She was my perfect being for my mother, to allow me to sense other senses than my five senses. We had a 2-story house at one time. My father was an actor. I've been an actor. So much incredibleness was happening in my life, but the realness was I wasn't being able to enter those realms that I could intuit and I could understand different things. So my mother, I would crawl, of course, like kids, I would crawl out and I would see my father and mother were having a like, in quotes, a adult party, drinking or whatever that was called adult. And she'd come up, she'd see me hiding up there, curious. And she'd say, "Oh," she said, "hear that voice? What is that woman wearing?" And I described this to her, and she's, "Oh, man, yes, you're right. You're exactly right." And it gave me this energy and curiosity that I could go into these different realms without being there. I was entering the party without even though I knew I was kind of at the party and everything was drawing me to the party, she brought me to the party, or I brought myself to the party. And it was quite there were times where I didn't like that gift from my mother. I wanted her to be a mother in different ways. Like I would say, I would be sick and I didn't want to go to school like all kids, right? Which is every day. But So I'd say, "Oh my God, mother, I can't go. I'm feeling hot, and all of that." And she'd say, and I'd look outside, it'd be raining, and I'd say, "I can't go. It's just the weather and I feel ill." And "Oh, okay." And she'd come and she'd put me in the bathroom. She'd get a thermometer and all of that, all the going mother stuff, right? And then when I come back into bed and I think, okay, I did it. I don't have to go to school. And she said, well, oh, you left your blind up. She pulled the blind down. She had gone in there and she painted beautiful sunrise and beautiful sky. She painted my blind. As I said, well, she said, now you know it's raining outside, but this is what you're going to see today. You're going to see you missing such a beautiful day. And I go, oh, I get so mad at myself trying to trick my mother, and so I go to school because I went on the beautiful day. Of course, the beautiful day didn't happen, but in that way, but it got me out. It got me out. She was such a trickster, such a wonderful magician, and my father was a magician too. He I can't believe the things I experienced with my father. My father would come on stage, and usually, things were quiet, but you could hear a pin drop when my father was on stage. People were drawn to him, and I didn't have that kind of relationship with him, but I had this relationship with him was more of an equal. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was a son. I didn't no idea. Had no idea. I knew more in the sense of a realm that I knew because I had these. This would come out of me. My mother. I would wake them up like 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Tell my aunt not to fly on a plane today," and she was coming in from Chicago to California, and she knew this part of me. She took care of me a lot of times when my mother was working. My mother was keeping the family together. And my mother came into my room. She said, "Oh," and it was that night. She said, "Oh my God, I said, "I'm so glad you told me." I said, "What?" She said, you told me to tell my aunt or my sister not to fly in today," and the plane crashed. And I started to
sometimes
feel,
people know.
especially
Sometimes
children,
people, children definitely. I mean, I
Yeah.
always say children, and I saw this not just in myself, but when I taught school, a lot of times they for sure know more than the parents because it hasn't been conditioned out of them, and they're so, especially infant till about 8, so connected to source still. Their spirit team and their other aspects of
Yeah.
self. They're such. Paulo, I got a question. What was this?
Oh, question.
Buddha. Was the laugh from Buddha?
Yes. Yes, I got this laugh I got it from another being on the street, probably a
Oh,
homeless
the
guy.
street.
I don't know,
Oh,
but
interesting.
but it was
Okay.
a Buddha. And finally, I was married the third time or the second time. I can't remember. And it was her birthday. It was this. She was funny. But anyway, so I was going out to get her a present. I love giving presents, and I found this shell. It was made into a box, and I found this ring that I saw my wife looking at all the time, but never would allow herself to buy it. And so I went and bought it. I put it in this shell, and I'm going to pick it up for her birthday. And I'm going to pick it up, and I hear this speaker. Somebody's talking on the speaker, and I'm going, "Oh my God, that's my laugh. That's the voice. That's the voice of my laugh." And I went in there, and it was a monk from Tibet, and I said, "That's my laugh. You've got my laugh. Where did you get?" And he says, "Oh," he says, "you're the one." I mean, it was like, what? What are you talking about? Nobody knew what we were talking about, but I knew I had gotten my laugh from him. It was so incredible. So I went back home with the gift and all of that, and she said, "Well, where were you? I had a party here and everything." I said, "Well, it's fine. I found my laugh. I couldn't stop, you know." And she did not take that very, very, very easily. I'm not an easy person. I'm on too many realms. But my laugh was being laughed. My laugh was in this place, and I had to go there for that source of it. So it's just an amazing planet. It has always been an amazing planet to me because I don't think I don't put it in me that I say I know it all. I don't. There's nothing. The more I'm 76 now, and the more now these 76 years, I'm going. I know shit. Excuse my vernacular, but I know shit about this universe. And so, what is happening for me now is that I'm allowing myself to go beyond, like a bad Twilight Zone. I'm going to go. I'm going to realms that and these children here, these kids here, I should say, are an example of that. we have people now, these kids, where they don't want to go to these countries. They're finding these places like abandoned schools and abandoned hospitals and old places, and creating lovely music and drama in these places. They call themselves scrungers or
Oh
and
yeah.
whatever.
Well, that
Yeah.
sounds like that sounds like my high school years. To be quite frank, we did that. We had actually there was somebody. One of the had an abandoned uh, bus that we hung out with and did music and went to the beach and did circles, sacred circles, and drumming and
Nice.
having yeah. So that's kind of good to see. So what's your story evolving? What are you seeing? What are you cooking up and creating? Anything? Nothing? All of it? None of it?
Well, I just decided, you know, how can I put this? I decided that, people have filled books, they've filled movies with story. Everybody's filled all these places with stories. And I'm going, okay, I'm going to go where no story has been created. That's what I'm doing now. I'm creating these, and that's what I do I'm doing it through the creation of art. And I'm doing it creation of wearing art because that empowers it. You can have a beautiful bracelet, and if you've never wore it, well, what's the sense of it? But if you have something, so I'm finding beauty in such objects, like I'll go to the beach and I'll find a rock and I'll embellish that rock so people can appreciate that rock. I always felt this way. My mother had a beautiful, beautiful necklace of pearls, but I always found one pearl that would always beam. The other, it was just beaming. And nobody's seeing that one pearl because of all the other pearls. And that's what I think we are. We're that one beaming pearl. So this beaming pearl on Big Island of Hawaii, well, everybody's in shorts and flip-flops like they're gone, like they've been, at the beach too long. That's the look. That's the look here. So I go out and dressed up. I have a hat. I have my pins. I've got a purse. I'm having a blast, and people don't even see this. They're it's such a hoot. I'm starting to see these young kids in pants. They didn't wear pants when I first came here. Now they're wearing pants. So I'm a trendsetter at 76, and always have been. It's fun. It is really fun. Yeah. So as I'm balancing my relationship. My wife is in her own spiral of her relationship, but this place is giving me an ability to as I enter this little town of Pahoa, I can be anything I want to be each time. And that's what we need now. We
Yeah,
need
to be
everyone to come
anything.
out and recreate it each time anew. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, what's our new story? What are we editing? What do we want to bring in?
Yeah.
What do we want to create? I think that's so powerful right now that we always have been, but there's an extra focus and push on that is that
Yes.
it's time, you can adjust, you can edit. It might be a new story, it might be a new chapter, it might be a new book, but I
Yes.
think right now, and in fact, that was one of the things when I tuned in with the guides this morning. That's why I put the great pivot in this adjustment, and you see it. This square, this Jupiter Saturn Neptune square, is about adjustment. And I would say even what it was Uranus kicking into Gemini, that and then of course the trine to Pluto. But we're being asked to adjust. Where do we need to adjust in our life? The world is going to be doing it, the collective. So that's the non-local aspect of us. But there's going to need to be adjustments. We're going to want to make adjustments, and it's okay to adjust or refine. It's okay to change. I think for me, one thing that's really helped me is like, look, if you adjust or change something or edit or delete, get rid of something, you're making this adjustment. It doesn't necessarily mean what we were doing was wrong or bad or off. Sometimes
Go
it's not
ahead.
even off path or track, right? It's just, that thing, you just want to make a
Right.
change. So I think for people right now, it's really important to give
That's right.
yourself permission to make the
That's
change. You got to get
permission. That's a good
permission,
one. That's a good
right?
one. Yes. Yes. And to really elevate and really appreciate people like you who are making the change and are being positive and public about making the change. You know, there's so many of us, our voices are not heard, but being in the chair you've chosen and being in relationship with who you are, it should be celebrated and it should be applauded. And I applaud you, honey.
Oh, now why? Because I'm just, you know me, I'm just saying
You're
my
still
thing.
you
But
yes, but that's a good thing, and that's really what we need. We
mm,
need that someone to come into that place, and it's look at where the head of our country is. You know, it's either you come in with this authenticity or you come in with this. So you know, my father and other people used to say, well, if I could hire a person who was a regular person and I could hire a crook, I would hire the crook because I know that the crook is a crook and I know what to expect. So
yeah.
so what I feel with you is you have the authenticity, so they know what to. So they can relate to others about how they're relating to things. And if you have someone somewhere that kind of gives you a clarity or a way that doesn't allow you to go into a negative response to you, then that gives you a clarity to how you can maneuver through this. And that is what's needed is more people we need to see that. We need to hear it and we
Mm,
need to be it. A lot of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, you know, and I guess we all have our little part. Thank you, Sue, in the chat. Even yesterday on that podcast, because I just, I've been so fired up, and I get extra fired up, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to go with it, even if I ruffle feathers, just because I see where we're at, I see what's going on, and I just, I mean, whether it's people believe me or it's helpful for certain people or not, at least from my perspective of what I'm bringing in and what I've seen, learned, and been receiving, I feel like I really have to speak up on these stories or narratives that are coming in that are just so off basis and disempowering. I mean, I even yesterday said, look, rioting doesn't really change anything, or protests. It doesn't. It doesn't. It never has. If you look through history, I don't care who was it, what's the guy's name? Gandhi. What was the other one? Martin Luther King. What changes is individuals changing their behavior. Yeah, it brings awareness. It shows that, oh, we don't like this. But you don't, change doesn't happen. It happens, where do you put your time, your energy, your money? You stop supporting by buying something, or by voting, in a certain area, certain way. And I did back in the day my marching and whatever and all that. But I know some people, because this person I was talking to was trying to say, oh, they're going to go, I guess, to some march. And I'm like, that's really not helping. Where are you buying your food? Where are you, what clothes are you in? Fast fashion? Where are you putting your money? Where are you, that's, and I know it sounds trite, it sounds trivial, but it's everything in the universe to me, or the earth, it kind of reflects the same thing. It's like fashion. I hate to say it, in music or anything that's getting marketed. When people no longer buy it, that's when the bigger companies pivot. That's when the government pivots. Right,
Right. That's right.
even all the pride marches, and I did it, women's rights, gay right, everybody's, I did all. That's not when it changed. It changed because people stopped participating. That might have brought awareness, but it changed when the participation changed, when people got more out of the system and said, oh, well, you're not going to support this right or that right, then we're not buying here, we're not shopping here, we're not voting for here, we're not giving you these donations, we're not doing this, we're doing these movies. I think you have more impact by the TikToks, the reels, rather than marching, gang. The TikToks, the reels, movies, videos, music, stuff that goes into people's consciousness more broad stream, and by you doing your individual inner work and consciousness. Because the other ones, I bet you poll all these people that are marching, and they're not living very healthy. I'm not going to say all of them, I'm just going to generalize.
Mhm.
What are they really doing? How are they living? Where are they putting their time, energy, their money? What are they, again, we got to get out of this system of this kind of power over, over comparison, over consuming. looking at our value as something external, all those little changes the game, because those companies want to make money. They want to do well, those governments. So if we say, oh, I'm not doing that, I'm
Mm,
not buying into that, that's when the changes start happening. But
I
that's
agree.
Pluto and Aquarius. That's people are going to see that. I think some people are starting to see that. It's.
Oh yeah, I do. I agree.
You think so?
Yes. Yes, because it only continues certain way till the pendulum starts to swing the other way, and that's where we're at. That's why you're calling it a pivotal
Yeah,
thing, because that's the
yeah.
pendulum swinging another
I
way.
think you're right. We're already, like you said, we're already there. It's like we're on this great continuum or this circle or spiral. We just hit these different points.
Right.
And it's not even that it's so shocking. It's like on some level, we've all called this in. We've said we can't go further in this other way or other ways. We've already decided the change,
That's right.
right?
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. You have to have someone before you has broken bigger boulders than
Mm-hmm.
you have, so you can come around and kind of kick the gravel and keep it going. But you have to have someone with the heavy hitters, and on and on and on.
Yeah,
It's all the step. It's all this
yeah,
conditioning in that step, and where we come to a place of a wall here, like the Great China Wall, if it's everywhere, there's going to be one person that's going to kick it or find a way through. And it begins, and that's the way it always will be. It's got to continue. Energy is got to be continued. Energy
yeah,
cannot be stagnant. Stagnant energy becomes something you no longer connect with. Stagnant energy is something to be viewed at, is something to do something with, but you're not a part of it. You're no longer a part of it. And when you're no longer a part of something, you go into judgment. I think it was Rumi that said,
ooh,
when you
interesting.
judge, the stem of the wine glass breaks, which means you're not at the party, honey.
Yeah. So I like what you're saying with this. That's just it makes so much sense. Okay,
Yeah,
because it's already done.
right.
It's just the last resistant of the ego or what our perception, but we've already called this in. It's already happening.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
And
interesting.
and it progresses. It progresses. And how much energy can we put into something if it's stagnant? Not it has an ending because it's stagnant. It
Yeah,
isn't alive. So it's already being stagnant. It's already dead.
yeah.
You see?
Oh, Paulo, I just by you saying that, that's
Yeah.
a lot of the resistance to the chaos, and is the chaos is that it's reminding me back in the day when you go. Well, I guess they have it still when you go to a concert or a football game or whatever, but it's over, and so you have those people. There's everybody's leaving,
Yes.
because I remember this happening to me, and then I'm like, oh God, I got to go to the bathroom, and my friends are like, now, Michelle, so in other words, I have to go the opposite way
Right.
because I got to go to the loo. That's what's happening right now. Some people are going no, but the energy is already carrying us. This has already happened.
That's right.
It's been happening. This awakening. I mean, I don't know, since '80s, late '80s, we've been in this
Oh,
pivot.
early.
Yeah, earlier it started, but I mean the harmonic convergence, the great, for us to see it. So even earlier, as you say. So
Yeah.
the bottom line is, I love what you're saying. I think it's so important to remember that this is already happening energetically. It doesn't really even matter the players or how they're playing out. I feel
No.
people have to find, as Sue put in the chat, their own flow. You have to find your meaning and purpose within what's happening.
Yes, you do,
That's yeah,
and
because
connect
it's
to.
not going to stop happening. That's what people have to realize. This is
That's
not
right.
it's already we've been in this change. So it doesn't matter if you have Pump, Trump, Madam Curry,
Yeah.
Kamala, Smalala,
Yeah.
Pussy, Poppy, Poopy, whatever
Oh,
the name is, King, Buddha,
yeah.
because all of that is, to your point, Paulo, this is so profound. I hope people get this. You're right. That is dead energy. The
Right.
fight is when you're dying and you have the death rattle, or you ever seen an animal that's dying, that it fits in
Yeah,
stuff.
I've
You're
already
still
heard of.
dying.
Yes.
You're still dying. It doesn't matter. So this is the death. This is the last vestiges, but life is already being created where there's more life enhancing. That's why people ask me, how do you know like who to believe or listen to or trust? I'm like, well, they better have a good solution that's life enhancing, not their story, but is
Right.
this really helping? Is this because the universe, the nature is all about survival. So is this life enhancing?
That's
Life,
right.
right?
That's right.
Life force animating energy.
That's right.
Not, oh, am I going to be safe? I'm going to
Oh,
stock up for 30 days. I got to, no, that's like that. No, that's not true survival. Right? I mean, my God,
well, if you're in survival, which we are,
to
which
some
we
degree.
sometimes are to some degree,
Well, but you look at the thriving. How can you
but you can't
thrive
live
within
in
the
it. You can't
survival?
live in it. You can't live in survival.
Oh,
Surviving
yeah.
survival is a vehicle to get you through something. It is
Mm,
not a place to land. You don't
hmm.
land in survival. You get you're it's like an
You
old
get through it.
motorcycle.
Is that
You
what
get
you're saying? You
through
get
it.
through.
It's a new
Ah,
yeah, it's
interesting.
something
Yeah.
to either get out of it or get through it, or whatever you're going to do with it, but you don't live there.
Right.
You don't live in a place of survival. Surviving is happening always. You just have to
Mm,
get out. Where are you surviving? What parts of you survive? And you have to have all of it. All of it is connected in us. We have to know what stagnant energy is, because in our bodies we have stagnant energy, and,
yes.
and
Got to get
it
that
is
moving.
part of us. So we have to know all of this, and that's what we are. We are all of it. And so having that part, if we are now going into this pivotal place, which we are talking about today, is that, well, how much more are you going to keep the dead alive? I mean, there's got
Yeah.
to be I have friends who keep their and want the memory of their past in their own to keep them alive. But there's got to be a point where you go, you know what? Let them go on. Let them recreate who
Yeah.
they want to be. And and actually, a lot of people, when they're ready to go, they say, "I'm ready. I'm ready." And how much energy in every little thing you must be. Say you're buying a Pop Tarts, and there must be one time where you go, "Do I want another Pop Tart?" And part of your energy dies from that, and you go, well, there must be some alternative Pop Tart. Maybe I can find a natural way of making Pop Tart. Maybe I can make my own Pop Tarts. That's already killing and de-identifying with one energy. So you're now calling that Pop Tart a stagnant energy. You now died out of that energy, and we do this
Yeah.
continually. We do
Interesting.
this, and
Yeah.
it's very much more everyone in the public. We're dying out of Kamalas. A lot of us are now in the we. How long has that funeral been going on? You know, I don't want to wear
Yeah.
black anymore
Well,
for
it's so
Kamala.
interesting because we're already there to some degree. It's now like how do we meet and connect with
Yeah,
the energy, this part of us,
yeah.
the avatar part, because we're already in it. It's like the change. We're already when we change, we're already there, but then there's always things to do on the 3D level
Yes.
to adjust to that. So that should give people some kind of hope and confidence in themselves, is that
Ooh.
to some
Hope,
degree we're already
hope,
there.
hope, hope. Okay, let's go to
I'd love
hope.
hope. I love hope. Don't
Well,
talk to me about hope because
no,
now
I think
hope with action, hope with
hope is
no
great. Hope is
with
great.
action. But
You,
but I have
with
had
something, sure, but it's again like survival. You can't live in hope. No,
no, but
but
it
you
gives
can,
you.
but it
We had
gives you an opportunity
yeah, we had
to
somebody
reach
on the
out.
other day that
Yeah,
had a book about hope, and I loved it because I know hope gets a bad rap. Well, if you don't do anything, but believe me,
yeah,
I've had days that I work for myself. I'm doing stuff,
yeah.
a lot. So there's days that I've been so overwhelmed, and then
Oh,
some little thing happens that
yes.
gives me hope I can make it through. Now I follow through. It could be a conversation. It could be someone I meet on the street, whatever. It could be a client I
Okay.
work
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
And then I get my resiliency. That hope is there for me to do what I need to do, to follow through to whatever it is that I'm going through or doing.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember that we are going to follow through, that we are going to
No,
survive,
there's no, there's
you
sometimes
know?
I'm not able. No, I mean, hope when you got to really get something done. So I don't,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you can
I
have your
understand.
negative assessment of hope, but
No,
I
I don't think
I
it's
love
negative
hope.
at
I
all. I
love
don't
my
think it's
hope.
negative at all. I just think a lot of people rely on it a lot.
Well, because they
And
don't do anything. You have the whole
yeah,
key is
yeah,
the hope is supposed to get you motivated or
that's right.
inspired to
That's
follow
right.
through or do what you need to do. Like when I
That's
had
right.
hope, when I got my little shot of hope, I'm like, oh God, now I can do that or I'll get that
Yeah,
done.
That's good.
No, I didn't have hope and then go back and lay in the bed being depressed and
Well,
overwhelmed. It's
if you were,
supposed to give you the shot to do what you need to do. Like,
well, thanks God to thanks to our people of the religion shapers. How and I was raised as Catholic, where you could be a son of a bitch the rest of the week, but you go in and say your Hail Marys, and it gives you hope.
oh yeah, no, not
Ugh,
that kind of hope.
ugh.
No.
And how much of that has been instilled in us that we
Yeah.
put our energy in deities. We put them in our doctors.
Yeah,
We make our
I agree.
doctors
And I don't,
deities.
and to your point,
Yeah,
not blind, faith is, I guess all of it is just a tool or tactic to get you to do what you got to do, the next
that's
step.
right.
But you got to still do stuff. You got to become the, you have
Doer.
to doer. Yeah, you got to move to the causal point. You got to get out of being the effect.
Right.
And you know what, everybody, this is knowing yourself also, because I know when I have certain things, there's certain people that I will call or connect with that are my mentor, my muse. They're my muse. Sometimes they don't even know. And I'm like, oh,
That's
like the
right.
other day, a friend of mine called me and I was lagging because I got so much done. I'd got all this editing done. I was like on top of everything else I had to do. We were way behind in the Awakenings editing, and the person that normally helps me, they weren't able to do it. I had to be the one that claim the podcast, all this tech stuff. I had to do it because it was under my name. Anyway, all this stuff I had to do was just so extra. And I got a lot of it done. And then I think it was Monday morning, I was going to go to the cafe. I was going to go for a long walk and work out and then do my stuff. But I was a little lagging. And I was also like, well, you did a lot. But I'm like, no, you got to get this done. I'm like, no, you did. And then a friend of mine called me and we started chit chatting. She was on the go. And so I got my tea, I put my earbuds and I started and I got it done. And she's like, what are you doing? I go, I'm getting my stuff done. So now I can go finish all this stuff. But I didn't have to get into story. Oh, I'm so depressed. I can't do it. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Can you help me? No, her energy, her calling right at that time.
Right.
I connected into that energy and I thought, okay, I'm honoring this energy. This is my higher self supporting me by giving me a shot of this person's energy. Instead of being irritated or annoyed by it, I felt the blessing in it,
Yes. No, true. Yeah.
Oh my God. We're limited to 120 minutes, 2 hours. Yes, the action. Who Bailey said that. Yep. So we got to go, gang.
Oh, we're going?
We got to go. I guess
right.
we only get 2 hours here.
Sayonara, everyone, and be blessed on your road. Be kind to yourself and laugh at yourself. Oh, just laugh. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And cry. You can cry a little too. All of it. But just allow yourself to be there and allow yourself to really understand you've already been there. You've already got all this. Just go to that place where you connect. That's my message.
Oh, I love that. Great advice. Go where you connect to this.
Adios,
Allow
people.
your soul shine. Adios, Paliti. Oh, you can find him on Instagram.
Yes.
You too, Sue. Love you.
Yeah,
Talk
you
to
can
later.
find me. Reach out.
Love you all, everyone.
Yes.
Ciao, ciao.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to disconnect.
Hasta luego. Well, I'm ending, everybody. Okay. Continue to shine your light. Share your insight. You guys, also, there's a comment section. Leave comments. Let me know any topic suggestions, guest suggestions, and let's keep the conversation going.
Awakenings broadcast.
Anytime you need a laugh, call on me.
Oh, I will follow. Amazing. Ciao, everyone. Lots of
Join the
love.
Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com and keep awake.